So when we hear the seagulls, you know what that means?
It's time. It's go time.
It's go time. So 51 is around the corner, but we still have weeks to talk about it.
Weeks and weeks. Yes.
Weeks and weeks to ask the same questions, but we'll try to make it interesting. On Coast to Coast today, David, first of all, I'm sorry I didn't introduce you. That's David Lloyd, folks,
Please.
if you didn't know.
Thank you.
Kerry champion.
Yes.
James Jones, a former Packer, will be here on set. He actually talked to Jordy Nelson after the game last night. It's pretty interesting what he had to say, so he'll join us in just a few minutes on the set. I know you can't wait to hear that one, David.
James was good on that. Not 2 broken ribs, right? More than that, 3 to 6 broken ribs for Jordy.
3 to 6. Can you believe that? And he still got out there and played. So that was, I mean, admirable at the very least.
How many ribs do we have anyway? Do you know? I'm not sure. What's the number of total ribs?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like
Researcher.
Ryan Clark says 24 ribs.
Is it a guess?
Did he make that up?
Our medical expert
Ryan
Clark has chimed in.
I did make it up.
24 ribs.
My uncle just broke some ribs though, and I think I heard that number at some point.
It's right. We're getting it in our ear. 24.
Okay then.
Hello.
Yeah.
You've already won the segment.
Lewis and Clark, we explore new places, we talk about the NFL, and we diagnose injuries.
I was going to go 16 on the Showcase Showdown just so I didn't go over, but
somehow I thought it was like 8 or something. I was like a half platter of ribs. I wasn't going the full platter.
Got to protect those organs.
All right, that's a good way to start the show. Have you seen the cover of ESPN the magazine?
I have.
Have you seen the cover of ESPN the magazine? Brady's revenge. Ooh, he's got the eye black on. Of course, the 4-game suspension.
That boy chin is strong.
I mean, come on.
It is.
Look at that.
It's a little chisel.
It's all going for it. We got the dramatic music and everything. So that's ESPN the magazine. Can you want it anymore because you might be mad at the commissioner? We'll talk about that in a second. First, here's what Brady said on WEEI this morning.
If you thought it all while you were out for 4 games, you ever think of all the scenario in your head? This is what I would do. That dream scenario, you finally win the Super Bowl, and Goodell's up there on the stage, and he hands you the trophy. What would you say to him?
Well, hopefully we can finish it off, and we'll see. So maybe I'll tell you after, but I don't want to get into winning something before we won it because it's going to be hard to win this thing.
All right, so naturally, Tom's not going to go there to winning the Super Bowl before he even takes a snap in Super Bowl 51. Getting to my question, he's a very motivated individual anyway. Can you want it even more because of the history with the commissioner and the fact that the commissioner will be handing him the Lombardi Trophy if they win?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Look, I think athletes, I think everyone in general, but athletes in particular are motivated by feeling slighted, disrespected, being questioned, especially when it comes to what it took for them to get to where they are. Look, Tom's history as far as trying to prove people wrong goes way back to even before when he was at Michigan. I mean, you've seen him talk about on documentaries how emotional he gets over all the people who were drafted ahead of him, how he knows every single guy, and how he remembers how emotional he was and his parents were when he got passed over in the draft. And along the way, everybody is looking for that edge. Everyone at later parts in their career, even though he's one of the most accomplished, most decorated quarterbacks ever, he's always still looking for something to give him an extra edge. He has one of the greatest as far as providing that edge in his head coach, who still treats him as if he's still trying to earn his way. Still he's not exempt from Bill Belichick's wrath. So you can best believe that right now, given everything that transpired with the Deflategate, of course it's something about, he won't admit it, but why would he? He's not going to give us more stuff to talk about. But come on now. You heard that little chuckle. Like, yeah, maybe I'll tell you about it later. Of course.
Well, obviously he's motivated by it. I think it's something that he thought about in preparation. It's something you definitely think about while you're waiting your 4-game suspension out. But to think that it's going to play any factor in the way that Tom Brady prepares, in the way that Tom Brady executes, is crazy. This is a man that is motivated by greatness, which he has accomplished, and he still wants more. He's still chasing those championships. He's still chasing those ghosts of the past. And right now, Tom Brady is the most accomplished quarterback of our era for sure. I believe if he wins this, he'll go down as the greatest of all time. And yeah, after you win it, which Tom Brady isn't ready to already put himself there, of course you'll have a certain feeling toward the commissioner. But if you've watched Tom Brady conduct himself throughout his career, he's conducted himself with class. He's always been one of those players to say the right things, to do the right things, to prepare in the right way. And I think when if he gets an opportunity to get that trophy from Commissioner Goodell, he will continue to handle himself in that way because that is the way his career has been.
He sure handled the Steelers yesterday. As a former Steelers defensive back, we get all surprised at the way Pittsburgh went about trying to defend him.
It's the same old story. And Lewis knows this. And some of our Pittsburgh Steelers defenses were some of the best in the history of football. There were many times those Coach Dick LeBeau-led defenses were number one in the whole NFL, in the league. And we play Tom Brady and get shredded. We'd have games where we haven't given up 20 points in 3 weeks, and you'd play Tom Brady, and he'd put up 39. I think it's part of somewhat of our scheme. Obviously, it's a fire zone scheme. It's also a 3-deep zone scheme, which Tom Brady is very effective in attacking. The one game where we did excel against him in 2011, we changed everything up. We played a lot of young DBs. We played a lot of two-man where we beat guys up at the line of scrimmage, one robber where we brought Troy down.
Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, if you sort of saw this coming, why wouldn't you have done that?
Well, because here's the thing. Pittsburgh doesn't have the people now. Right? So if you watch the teams that have been successful against Tom Brady, you can even go back to last week with the Houston Texans. They were able to create a rush with Merciless and Clowney. You had guys in the back and Joseph and Bouye who could play man-to-man on those wide receivers, beat them up. You weren't afraid of the matchup. Pittsburgh doesn't have those people. They don't have the middle rushers. They don't have the cornerbacks that can play man-to-man in that way. So you heard Coach Tomlin say in the post-game presser, they tried to bring pressure early, which was from a fire zone. Tom Brady slid away from the pressure, picked them apart. Then you try to move to 3-deep zone, and he was finding the spaces there because you couldn't get pressure with the front four. When you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're built the way they are built now, it's tough to be equipped to handle a Tom Brady-led offense with the way that he diagnoses you pre-play and then executes.
Yeah, you have no shot against this offense unless you create chaos right from the snap. And the way you create chaos with their wide receivers is to hold them up at the line. I mean, literally, David, it becomes a fist fight at the line of scrimmage to where you're going, I'm not even going to let you get into all the different nuance that you have built into your routes to take advantage of zone coverage. Because if you're playing zone and you're playing, let's just say you're playing like what you call this traditional spot drop zone like you would see on a basketball court. You just go to an area and defend guys who come in your area. You're dead against this team. You're dead. Most teams play what you call zone man matchup, which means as they come into your zone, you pick them up man to man. These guys are so adept at moving away from your leverage and just sliding away from you. Oh, you're going to go there? Well, I'm going to go here. And see, this offense with guys like Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, and even Martellus Bennett, now Hogan, they've become – these guys drill it so much up there to get on the same page with Tom that unless you play man-to-man and, as Ryan pointed out, you have the horses that can actually stick to it, meaning guys who can shadow routes down the field, this is the result you're going to get against Tom Brady.
Okay, well, I wasn't even going to get into a strategy segment with you guys here 13 days before the game, but now I'm curious. Do the Falcons have the horses? Are they equipped to play that kind of defense that can give the Patriots trouble?
Here's what helps the Falcons. They can score points. Right? So you don't necessarily have to go in the game and shut them down. You just have to make it hard. If you look at Jalen Collins, you look at Robert Alford, obviously Poole in the slot, you have guys who can play man-to-man. You have younger, faster, more athletic players, so it gives you an opportunity to get in some of those calls. If you think back to the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl, right? They did some of those things, but they were beat on some plays, and they scored, I think it was 24 points, the Patriots score. If you hold the Patriots to 24 points and you're the Falcons, you feel like you can win.
It's a win.
And so I think with a little mix of the man-to-man, obviously the Falcons are a base covered 3 team, and they are going to do what they do. They're going to expect Beasley, some pressure from Deion Jones up the middle in blitz packages, and they're going to mix it up. They know they just have to try to keep the Patriots out of the end zone. They're not worried about 20-20. It's about keeping the score down, and I think the Falcons have the ability to do that.
Yeah, they won't sit back and play passive. That's not Dan Quinn's personality. That's not the Seahawks' personality, which is where he comes from. They're not going to play a fire zone, soft zone coverage, press bail. Just let them catch it and we'll tackle them. Nah, that won't work. I don't care how good their offense is, which is going to have its own challenges itself. I wouldn't necessarily think that the Falcons are just going to run up the score on the Patriots defense either. Remember, this is a guy who shut down the greatest show on turf with a brilliant scheme. He'll have something for them that they've never seen.